Yo, yo, yo. Mic check 1 2 1 2. Yo, it look like I'm coming through. I'm getting some little bars. Yo. So I'm just getting back out here. Of course I don't be going live a lot. Y'all all know that. But today y'all see the topic, you know, is this COVID vaccine for us, you know? And so I'm gonna look at it, man. I've been looking at the science. I've been looking at uh, how how this thing developed over time, and now I'm just curious, And so of course I did some digging and peace, y'all, man. Thank y'all for falling through. Um, I did some digging and some research, and I looked into it, y'all. And so of course, y'all know that I'm always bubbling with optimism. I'm an optimist, and I just believe that things will work out. You know what I'm saying? You just gotta you just gotta make them work out. That's all. I believe things will work out. You know, and thank you for that. So peace, Hassan. Peace, simply Neek. Peace, Sheila. You know what I'm saying? Peace to y'all, man. Thank y'all for falling through today. And while we waiting or whatever, I I got one of my old school joints, you know what I mean? And I wanted to go ahead and play it, let y'all hear your boy, you know. you know. And and this before I play the joint. Before I do my bill, this a joint I had did a couple of years ago. For y'all that don't know, I'm a MC, and so yeah, man, I wanted to play this joint for y'all, and after that, you know what I'm saying, I'm gonna chop it up a little bit more, and then I'm gonna get into the bill. I just want to make sure that I at least plug some of my little music. I believe in putting out positive music. So that being said, you know, go ahead and take that full screen. I created this video myself. All right, enjoy.
It's a conspiracy cause we labeled as rotten niggas. We portrayed as crackheads, hookers, and cotton pickers. Say we nothing but athletes, entertainers, and drug dealers. Then we make it worse, calling ourselves thug niggas. Our families tore up from the floor. Most of us growing with pops that don't even know us. We the poets in our own hoods, we don't know nothing. With no education, can't even get a loan or nothing. So we resort to selling packs, raps, and tracks, trying to make something out of nothing. How you loving that? We need more of our own businesses and jobs. Let it give us something to do, besides kicking it with the mob. And with more income, there'll be less people getting robbed, and less dope fiends and funerals and by moms. And living in the murder capital of the world, this is inspiration to all my little black girls. My diamond in the rough, my little black pearls. My strong black brothers, my precious black girls. This is dedicated to you, the future of the world. Dedicated to you, the future of the world. My diamond in the rough, my little black pearls. My strong black brothers, my precious black girls. This is dedicated to you, the future of the world. Dedicated to you, the future of the world. After careful evaluation, this is the realization. We need more love and meaningful communication. A house can't stand if it's split at the foundation. Being your brothers, keeping the first step to unification. Institutional racism and economic segregation and all the negative energy associated with paper chasing. Gotta take that same energy, use it to heal a nation. You and I versus all, gotta be everyday conversation. Gotta take responsibility, gotta make it happen. Cass is waiting on that push from Reverend Jesse Jackson of Farrakhan, please unite us. Where's our determination? Take the first step to straighten out our situation. Some of the problems we facing stem from self-hatred. And videos got our own sisters half naked. To be in rotation on some television station. Positive energy activates constant elevation. My diamond in the rough, my little black pearls. my strong black brothers, my precious black girls. This is dedicated to you, the future of the world. Dedicated to you, the future of the world. My diamond in the rough, my little black girl. My strong black brothers, my precious black girls. This is dedicated to you, the future of the world. Dedicated to you, the future of the world. What we gotta do to make our situation better? First, we need more education so we can get more cheddar. We gotta build each other up instead of tearing each other down. Gotta give each other a reason to smile instead of frown. Gotta raise the shorties so they know they got hope. More ways to get rich, to rap and hooping and selling dope. We diamonds in the rough, but that's okay. We just need inspiration to see some brighter days.
I know and realize, really no surprise. I feel how you feel, no one can see it through your eyes. Keep your head to the sky. My people from the ghetto, when you said you couldn't make it, you held on and stayed strong. Coming up even though we didn't have much dough. Made something out of nothing just to come up, Joe. Our shorties need hope, not just gangster tales. Wanna see them doing well and staying out of jail. My diamond in the rough,
my little black pearl.
my strong black brothers,
My precious black girl.
this is dedicated to you, the future of the world. Dedicated to you, the future of the world. My diamond in the rough,
my little black pearl.
my strong black brothers,
My precious black girl.
this is dedicated to you, the future of the world. Dedicated to you, the future of the world.
Yep, yep. So I'm back. I hope y'all enjoy my little joint, Diamonds in the Rough, all of the time. I'm always thinking about children and and building. I got skin in the game, you know. So I got two sons, and that's why I work so hard at what I do. I'm an educator. And typically during the day around this time, I'm teaching online, and we're 100% online here in Chicago. And so, because I'm usually teaching online, you know, it just felt natural to do this today. You know what I'm saying? And without further ado, right, I want to definitely get into the build today. Because obviously that's what everybody is here for. And so, you know, let me uh let me go to the top, and yeah, we gonna go ahead and get into this bill. Now, while I'm doing the bill, of course I can't see the chat, you know. Uh so I apologize, for those who might be trying to chop it up with me while I'm doing the bill. I can't see the comments because I'm literally in my bill, you know what I mean? So once I'm finished, then I'll flip back over to the chat, see what y'all had to say. So, you know, my title right here on the presentation is The Science of Vaccines, right? And that's what I'm literally talking about. I'm talking about the science of vaccines. And we got our ancestors right here, Onesimus, and I'm going to get into the story of Onesimus. But the question, and it was just, some I ain't gonna lie. I was putting it out there hoping that people was gonna look at the title and say, man, let's see what this dude got to say about this vaccine. I ain't taking it. I understand. So the essential question is this vaccine, is this COVID-19 vaccine for us? I never changed it, in the bill right there. Is this COVID-19 vaccine for us? Right? So before I even get into everything, I gotta acknowledge the past. I gotta acknowledge the past. I own the book Medical Apartheid. I'm quite familiar with the dark history of this country as it applies to Black people. And so the first, really disgusting example, you know, that I like to talk about with our dark past with this country is, you know, James Marion Sims. Y'all might be familiar with him as, AKA J. Marion Sims, AKA the father of gynecology. Uh, in the 1840s, this man is infamous, notorious for practicing uh, internal medicine on our sisters during their enslavement. And quite infamously, they talk about how he didn't use anesthesia, you know, um, and the experiments that he was doing on our sisters, internally. This is what led to what we pretty much know about women's health. Um, this dog right here. Oh man, he a terrible man right here. He it is known that he gave the women that he experimented on, that he gave them opium to addict them, and wouldn't give them the opium until after, to make them more compliant, you know. And then obviously, the elephant in the room, the Tuskegee experiment, you know. And of course, we know that, at the beginning of it, the government, the U.S. government, told them black men that signed up that they were going to get treated for their syphilis. And throughout the study, they actually found a effective treatment for syphilis and did not give it to these men, and continued to study all the way up until 1972. Very, very dark history right there. But I want y'all to know that um, after the Tuskegee experiment, that the U.S. government, along with a few people that we had in Congress, put in some protections, so that it would be more ethics and medical practices and things of that nature. But it is not lost on me that black people have had a tumultuous relationship with the medical community in the United States. It's not lost on me, y'all. You know, but I do want to talk about the story of Onesimus and how vaccination, um, um, at the time, in historical documents, they're gonna call it a inoculation, right? Or ventilation, right? In historical documents, but it's all the same things, vaccination, right? Um, for a long time, vaccination only applied to smallpox, and we definitely gonna talk about smallpox as I continue this bill. But as the story go, right? Uh, in this country, smallpox ravaged the indigenous population, the native population, and we all know the story of the Salem Church. Well, the members of the Salem Church in the early 1700s, these are the people who are deciding who are witches and who practicing witchcraft. The irony, right? They donated an enslaved African, an enslaved African. Yes, yes, that's where Onesimus was from. To a reverend, his name was Reverend Cotton Mather. Now, Cotton Mather sat on the board of the Salem Church, and he had a church in Boston. And Boston had a outbreak of smallpox. Now, a couple of years before this outbreak of smallpox, it was 1721. You can Google search me if you like. A couple of years before that, uh, Onesimus, Cotton Mather, as smallpox was breaking out, Cotton Mather noticed that Onesimus and the other enslaved Africans, they weren't even, you know, the least bit concerned about catching smallpox. They just went to and fro. You have to keep in mind, as we look at this story, the political time of day. Boston had a growing population of free blacks, and so it wouldn't be unusual to see Onesimus and them and the enslaved Africans that were a part of the plantation owned by Cotton Mather to go into town, right? And so Cotton Mather noticed this, and so he asks Onesimus, man, why y'all not worried? Why y'all not worried about contracting smallpox? And so Onesimus he shared uh a story about how Africans in the continent, how they would uh take a thorn and rub it in the wound of someone who has smallpox or who is recovering from smallpox, and then they would create a wound on a healthy individual, right, and then take the thorn and rub the thorn inside of the wound, right? So, let me flip back. So, um, as the story go, you know, Cotton Mather, he worried about his own family and he inoculates his son with the process that Onesimus tells him about. And, his son got a little sick, but he recovered in a week, just like Onesimus said he would. And they were inoculated. And of course, because Cotton Mather used this process on his own family, he knew that the practice was solid, that the science behind what he was saying was solid, right? But we got to take into account what the church at the time was saying. The church at the time was saying, that you are literally taking destiny out of God's hands. And if you contract smallpox, it's up to God to determine if you're going to live or die. Now, this is what the church was saying at that time, right? Which brings me to the next point. It also got political, right? Also got political. Now, this is how the Royal Society of London for Improving Natural Knowledge, it was a medical journal. This is how it got political. This medical journal at the time, the editor of this medical journal was Benjamin Franklin's brother. You hear that? Now, these ain't no lightweights, and so I was just about to show y'all, they had Sir Isaac Newton, that sat on the board. And then they had, contemporarily, they got Sir Stephen Hawkins on their board. So, it's called the Royal Society of London today, but back then in historical documents, if you look at it, the Royal Society of London for Improving Natural Knowledge, that's what it was called during Cotton Mather's day. So this is literally what Cotton Mather wrote about Onesimus and the practice of inoculation inside of the medical journal. Keep in mind, the medical journal was also against inoculation, right? I am willing to confirm to you in a favorable opinion of Dr. Timonus communication, and therefore I do assure you that many months before I met with any imitations of treating the smallpox with the method of inoculation anywhere in Europe, I have from a servant of my own an account of its being practiced in Africa, acquiring of my Negro man Onesimus, who is a pretty intelligent fellow. So let me stop right there. He was an enslaved African from the continent, right? But clearly Cotton Mather, recognized his intelligence. What am I saying? Why am I stopping right here to say that? They weren't going to get slaves. He was intelligent before he got to Cotton Mather, right? But as I continue, whether he had ever had the smallpox, he answered both yes and no. And then he told me that he had undergone an operation which had given him something of the smallpox and would forever preserve him from it, adding that it was often used among the Gramantes and whoever had the courage to use it was forever free of the fear of contagion. He described the operation to me and showed me in his arm the scar which had left upon him, and his description of it made it seem that afterwards I found related unto you by your Timunus. Timunus. I know I'm butchering his name. I tried to pronounce it before I got on here with y'all. I can't pronounce that dude's name. But there is the story of Onesimus. Now, smallpox. Do any of y'all know anybody who has ever been afflicted with smallpox? Do y'all know what this disease look like? What this virus look like? Oh man, it's not nice. Now, the reason why smallpox globally, globally is not seen today is because it's no it's not just only white people that get it, but the reason why it's gone today and you don't see people with smallpox is because of what? Fill in the blank, y'all. Because of what? Vaccination. Hey, look. What am I telling you? What am I showing you? This disease is no joke. This virus is no joke. No joke. It has crippled mankind for thousands of years, y'all. Not hundreds of years, thousands of years. Smallpox. Now, right, getting to the science behind this vaccination, this thing. You know, the person who came up with the method in which we are going to fight COVID-19, right? The leading viral immunologist at the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Disease got the bachelor's of science and sociology from the University of Maryland in Baltimore, got a PhD in microbiology and immunology from the University of North Carolina in Chapel Hill. Shout out to the Tar Heels. Studied human antibody response in Sri Lanka, and her research led to vaccines for SARS and MARS. Who am I talking about, y'all? There she go. There she go. That is the person that came up with the method in which we're going to fight COVID-19. Now, I'm going to describe the method in a few minutes, right? But this is who came up with the science, y'all. There go the sister right there. There she go. Now, you know, the Corbett, man, she got a pretty smile. Look, right, they was talking to Dr. Fauci on CNN, and they was asking him about, you know, the black community's apprehension to take the vaccine and, and all of this kind of stuff, right? And without hesitation, this is what came falling out his mouth. Without hesitation, y'all. He said, the very vaccine that's one of the two that has absolutely exquisite levels, 94 to 95% efficacy against clinical disease and almost 100% efficacy against serious disease that are shown to be clearly safe. That vaccine was actually developed in my institute's vaccine research center by a team of scientists led by Dr. Barney Graham and his close colleague, Dr. Kizimia Corbett, or Kizzy Corbett. Fauci told the forum Kizzy is an African American scientist who is at the forefront of the development of the vaccine. So, right, for people, again, I'm talking about the science of vaccines, right? Say, you might say to yourself, well, I ain't never get the flu vaccine. I ain't got the flu. So why should I go take the vaccine? Right? So let me explain. Right? So go COVID-19. This is what it looked like. And this is why they call it a coronavirus. Why? Because of those little crowns that you see. Right? So let's say, for instance, you say to yourself, I ain't got the flu vaccine and I seem to be doing decent. Right? If you contract one of these nasty flu strains, right? And you don't have a very strong immune system, oh man, G, you gonna be hurt. You gonna be hurt up. Am I saying that you might die? It's a possibility, yeah. But no, more than likely you won't die, you know. But COVID-19, because it's so new to mankind, because it's that's why they call it a novel virus, because it's new, right? You don't have any antibodies because it's brand new. You don't have any to fight off this virus. You don't have any. That's why they call it, a novel virus, right? And so those little crowns right there, right? What they do is they mimic it. They mimic other cells, and them crowns connect to healthy cells, and then that gray part, it start downloading into your cell. And so it keep on duplicating itself over and over and over again until it literally destroy that healthy cell. And then when it destroyed the healthy cell, it come out and now it's 10,000 of them. So one went in and 10,000 come out. This is why viruses are so nasty. This is why. So let's say, for instance, you did get a coronavirus, right? And then you build up what? You build up an antibody, also referred to as T cells. You can clearly see why they call it a T cell. So what this thing do is, what the T cell do, it crowd all of those receptors, and then it dump in some genetic information to destroy the virus. So that is literally how T cells in your body is your best defense. Your own body is your best defense. That's why they tell you should get good sleep and you should drink water and you should eat healthy and you should take vitamins, and so that the process of producing T cells will never be disrupted. Right? All right. So, right, vaccine, because that's what we're talking about, y'all. The vaccine and the science behind it. Let me flip back. So Dr. Kizzy, right? Dr. Kizzy Corbett, instead of, this is how a vaccine works. What they would do is, like how Onesimus said, give you a little bit of the virus, and then your body will literally create enough T cells so if you ever really get exposed to the virus, you will already have T cells in your blood to fight, right? But because this is a novel virus, because it's new to mankind, what Dr. Corbett, her science say, what she's going to do is cut that little red thing off of COVID-19. That's all that red thing do is attach to a healthy cell so that the gray part can get in. What she gonna do is cut the red part off. It's no COVID-19 in the red part, y'all. That's just the part that connect to a healthy cell. The COVID-19 is the gray part. Y'all see that? It's the gray part. So she gonna so what they did was they duplicated the little red part. And then after they duplicate the red part, they put that into the vaccine, and then they inject you with the protein that would connect COVID-19 to your cell, right? And the protein is going to produce those T cells that would fight COVID-19 if you would ever come into exposure to it. Do that make sense? Let me 1 second. Let me see. I can see the chat now. Oh man, peace, good brother, brother Moses. Peace, good brother Moses. Hey, do that make sense what I just said? Right? I just want to make sure before I move forward, right? If that makes sense. Take the protein that COVID-19 would use to attach to a healthy cell. Take that protein, duplicate it so that you can produce a human T cell response against the virus. You see that? Against the virus. So I'm hoping that makes sense, right? And let me keep going. So, right, while they was doing the trials, they specifically got Black and African Americans to participate. These are the numbers. What they was hoping to do was get the same amount of numbers that people are affected with it. So the numbers right now, they don't represent the trial, right? They don't represent the trial and everything. But again, 94, 95% efficacy in both of these trials. And you can clearly see that we are represented in these trials, more so in the Moderna trial, right? So let's get to it, right? What is in these vaccines, right? Like I just said, the little protein receptor, right, that would attach to a good cell, a healthy cell, the mRNA, right? You know, they manufacture something that look like the little red part. So that's what this is, the mRNA. And then they got the lipids and everything to mimic it. You know what I'm saying? And then here are the rest of the ingredients. That's what's in the Pfizer one, right? And then here's the Moderna one. Now I know that sometimes people feel like um because they not familiar with the science, right? They'll say, oh well, what about this? What about that? What about that ingredient? What about that ingredient? Um, they have medical boards who have been following this thing from the beginning. You know what I'm saying? And they will not allow, especially with the history that we didn't have with vaccines, they will not allow this to get out to the general public if they had anything, right, in the study. Yet, now I just showed y'all the numbers, right? Let me go back. In these numbers, if they had anything that resembled, right, anything from the past, it wouldn't go forward. You know what I'm saying? It wouldn't. I know they done rushed it, right? But the rush, right? The rush. Please understand, the science that they using behind this vaccine, right, is basically the same science that they had used for the vaccines for SARS and MARS, like I just told y'all, right? And SARS and MARS is very similar to COVID-19 in shape and in nature. And so this is why, you know what I'm saying, this is why they already had the science to begin the studies at the beginning, right? So, you know, y'all can see these are the ingredients. You know what I'm saying? And this stuff is so transparent, it's all online, right? And to me, you know, they don't have to give you COVID-19 to fight against to produce a T cell response. All they do is give you the receptors without giving you any of the virus. But you know, I know that we still got, you know, some people that doubt the science and everything. Here are just a few things that have been eradicated pretty much from humankind through vaccination. Polio, man, I mean, through vaccination, you know, a lot of these diseases, you don't know nobody that got whooping cough. You know, I mean, like, man, rubella. These are debilitating diseases that have, you know, pretty much crushed mankind again for thousands of years. The science, it has improved over the years, y'all. And I understand our apprehension. I get it. I get the apprehension. But at the same time, let me just say out loud, man, I'm a believer in science, y'all. So I just want to see, man, what y'all think. What y'all think? What y'all think? There go the link right there. There go the link right there. And so, am I pro-vaccine? I'm pro-science. That's what I am. I'm pro-science, and this is my concern. My concern is, what if this is a tool for us to fight something that, you know, that shut down the globe? Our people, man, we make up about 100,000 of those deaths. 100,000 of those people is black. And if we throwing away a tool, man, you know, man, I don't know, man. I want to know what y'all think. You know what I'm saying? There go the science right there. She not actually giving you COVID-19. The science was developed by a very beautiful sister, Kizzy Corbett, Dr. Kizzy Corbett. I got to give her respect. But man, that's where I'm at, man. You know, there go the link. I got it in there. You know what I'm saying? And if you got something, you know, if you got something that because I mean, I just feel like we give these people too much credit. You know, we in the room. We the scientists. We the scientists. The Surgeon General black. I know, oh man, just because he black, that don't mean he for us. And I don't know, man. I heard the brother speak. He might not be like, you know, all black power and everything, but man, that man is definitely motivated to do a good job based on the history, the dark history that we got in this country. Trying to get the word out about the vaccine and how it worked. I'm pro science. You know, so I didn't already drop my, drop my info. You know what I'm saying? I done did my bill. And so I dropped the link again, because I can see, that we got some people that you know, they yeah, dang, what's new? What's happening, family? Damn, G, man, miss chopping it up with you, bro. I hope everything is strong with you, fam. Man, you got a place to go when you come to Chicago. All you got to do is hit me up. But, we ain't got no takers. Because, see, here go the thing. You can't, I don't try to destroy people with information. You know what I'm saying? Look, right? If you hit me with, I'm going to tell you something. Here goes some truth for you. Here goes some truth for you, right? Marcus Garvey, I revered that man. Everything about him. Loved his stances and all of that. Right? And so, that man Taz, he dropped something talking about Garvey and talking about some dark things of the past. And man, I took it on the chin, bro. Took it on the chin. I'm a grown man. I ain't about to tweak out. Oh man, you can't be talking about Garvey. Man, hell no. Hell no. The truth is the truth. Took it on the chin. And here go the thing, right? If you against vaccinations, you against it so much, right? What we gonna do then? You see, what we gonna do? I mean, I hear you, right? I bet we gonna wear masks for the rest of our lives. I mean, things not gonna go back to, somewhat normal. You feel me? Like, is that where we going? I don't know, man. Y'all tell me, man. I'm here, man. I done dropped the link twice. Well, okay. All right. Well, I had a couple people. Her lab research. I got the report from Sarah Linka. Let me see. Do I got that? Looked at the lab report from Sarah Linka, where I had mentioned in my bullet point how she produced a response. Let me see. Let me see. I'm looking for it right now, but good brother Moses. Looking for it right now. And that's why I said the science is solid. Without giving you COVID-19, she mimics one more time. This is the science behind it as I'm looking for this report. Um, yeah. So it was a completely different disease, brother Moses. But the science, one more time, and I'm gonna come back to it. I'm gonna come back to this. Right. So the science behind the COVID-19 vaccine is this: the receptors on COVID-19, right? The receptors on COVID-19, they have mimicked it, right? They have mimicked it. And that's what's in the virus. That's what's in the vaccine. Not actually COVID-19, but the receptors that deliver COVID-19 to healthy cells by injecting you with those protein receptors, right? They literally produce a T cell response in your blood. So if you are exposed to COVID-19, you will have the T cells to fight it off. Now, her research, Dr. Corbett research was done on the dengue flu, dengue fever, dengue fever. And dengue fever is similar to a coronavirus. And so what she did was the same thing. She took the receptors. She took the receptors from this virus and injected it in the children, and it produced the same results that we see today with this vaccine, where it was 94, 95% efficacy, right? And the only ill responses out of 13, they tested 2,700 children in Sri Lanka. And man, I wish I had the link. Let me try to find this link. Try to find this link because see, you know, it's one thing to say this stuff. Yeah. Hey, when the show is over, because that way I wanna over promise. Under promise and over deliver. At the end of the show, I will put all of the links for the information that I used in the presentation. I will put all of those links in at the bottom of the show. I'm gonna go back in and edit it, and then that way I can put in all of the links for the show. That's gonna be in the description box, right? So I got the FDA report and why they approved it for emergency use. Then I got the CDC report, you know what I'm saying, and then the findings from both of those trials, both of those clinical trials that I showed you for Pfizer and Moderna, right? And then I looked at like I said, the dengue vaccine and her science behind the dengue vaccine. Now, the two ill response, out of the 2,700 children that she helped get over this disease in Sri Lanka, right? They had 13 bad responses to the vaccine, right? Out of those 13, 7 was injection site pain. 3 was shock. You know what I'm saying? Because if you ain't never had a vaccine before, you know what I'm saying, sometimes people go into shock because of the fact that you got foreign bodies in your blood that you ain't never had before. Sometimes people the numbers is just the numbers. That's why vaccines not 100% effective, right? But the other 3, nobody died. The other 3, I think they had symptoms of the actual fever, which make up the 13 that had bad responses to her study, But I done did my bill. I don't want to just keep on going. You know what I'm saying? I seen that we had some people that disagree. I love to see what you do. I want to see your build on it. You know what I'm saying? And and then we just gonna take it from there. You know what I'm saying? So I love and appreciate everybody that came through to listen to me. And I'm gonna close out this broadcast with another one of my joints. You know what I'm saying? Now, again, am I trying to plug myself as a musician? I'm not. You know what I'm saying? I'm not. I'm just really trying to let y'all see that, I got a little music and that, I got my music got a purpose now. You know what I'm saying? It got a purpose now. And so, with that being said, I'm just hoping that y'all enjoy it. And until next time, y'all, I'm just like I said, I'm about to close out with my little joint. The name of here go Brother Moses. Dang, my bad. Brother Moses, what's happening, family?
Bro Rob, I am Bro Rob 2020. What's up, bro?
Man, I'm good, fam. Man, love that you can make it, bro. I thought maybe you would be working or something.
Ah man, every once in a while they let a man have a day so off.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I know you work hard, bro. And I'm still trying to get you over to my consumer ed class. We at the point where we talking about the budget for the city now. And
That's deep.
we were researching line items and so what I'm trying to do is related to personal budgets and how you got priorities with your personal budget, right? You
Hmm.
know, cities they got priorities and how our communities seem to never be one. You know what I'm saying? So
That's right.
so yeah, so coming up in January, man, if I can schedule you, brother, I'd love to have you, man.
More than happy to, man. I want to see the update, like what some of the city plans looked like, how they brought them together, some of the amenities that they think would be important to have in like a city. And I remember I had pulled together the research for like a case study myself. Like I was a participant in the class. That's how much it inspired me, bro. So
Yeah, man.
appreciate it.
Yeah, I was listening to Taz the other day. He was talking about, we need our own. What do that look like? And
That's right.
that's exactly what this study is about. But as it relates to the bill today, man, what did you think? I don't know what part you came in on, but what did you think?
I came in at the beginning, and it was good that you actually you kind of walked us through in the same manner that I like to think it through, right? So
Mhm.
it's not just the one facet of looking at the information, whether that's what the media says about it, i.e., the Dr. Fauci references, the intent behind it, i.e., we are impacted, and so because we are impacted, how do you overcome the Tuskegee experiment, the syphilis experiments? How do you overcome the stigma that Black people associate with vaccinations? And for us to be as vulnerable as we are with pre-existing conditions, it is important to have a conversation. And so by putting it, there was an international community effort really when it came towards the vaccination, and vaccinations themselves have been an ongoing process. So each case study builds off the next one. Each methodology, they'll take methodologies from, malaria case studies. They'll take methodologies from, like you said, the dengue fever vaccination and how it created efficacy, or how they measured efficacy for the vaccination itself or for the process really. And then on the last note, the stigma that they have to overcome with the Black community is that this is just another profit grab. So if it's not just they're messing with our health argument, then it moves into and then they're profiting off of it. And so the stigma that they're looking to overcome is the destruction of Black bodies via this vehicle. This is just another vehicle. And we could talk about the different vehicles all day, but on this vehicle, we're looking at a couple of key cases right now, and using these vaccinations as a form of therapeutic. So you can see at the very high end, we have President Trump's therapeutic regimen, which included a, a cocktail really
Right, right.
of different products, different vehicles.
Hmm.
Um, and that's because there's so many different approaches to the vaccination. When you look at the Moderna and the Pfizer, for example, which is where we're at now, it's a different vehicle, but it's more or less the same assumptions based
Hmm.
on the science. And
Hmm.
those assumptions are that when you break down the basic components of a virus, which I think you did as well, by looking at the crowns, you called them. That's where I came in, good brother.
Hmm.
And when you're looking at those crowns, that element. And so, how do you create a counter or a defense to that crown if the crown is what allows the information to be passed from the coronavirus into the to
The
the
healthy
to the
cell,
cells,
yeah.
to our healthy cells,
Hmm.
right? And so that's an assumption, right? So if we can just stop this transmission from happening, then the coronavirus will no longer be able to infect the healthy cell. And thus
Hmm.
we'll have a fighting chance against the invasion of the coronae, as they like to duplicate themselves.
Hmm.
Um, so I think that's an assumption, right? But when it comes to the science, there's the other part of that, which is that's hypothesis null, right? That's hypothesis zero, is that if we can just stop this invading force from happening by shutting down the freeway, Brother Rob, then the
Hmm.
information that's contained within the coronavirus will not pass to ours, and our cells will not be used as conduits. Our communities will
Man,
not be
great
used as
analogy.
conduits for the destruction of the black body or the cell or the organism.
That's a great
Um,
analogy.
and because of that, we have to keep looking at the other hypothesis that they're saying our vehicle does better than, and this is why we chose this vehicle, the messenger RNA.
Hmm.
They chose the BioNTech. They chose the nanotechnology as a vehicle to recreate that spike, and they're saying we have they want a AI or artificial intelligence to produce that said response or that same vehicle as fast as it can, because right now they're doing it in labs and things like that, and saying Dr. Kizzy was a part of that development. Based on
Hmm.
her research, she's qualified because she's worked on coronavirus with the vaccination for the dengue fever. And so it's not against Dr. Kizzy that I have my response, or it's not against her qualifications. I applaud the sister for her efforts to see the world cured of coronavirus. Um, but it's not it's all it doesn't stop there either. If you are a believer in science, then you would have to attack that other hypothesis, Brother Rob. That's what I'm saying. And
Hmm.
so when we look at the other hypothesis, is that says, well, what happens if the coronavirus can reproduce itself without having to impact your cells to do it? What if the assumption is wrong that the coronavirus even needs your community in the first place?
Hmm. And,
Right.
and yes, I'm glad that you bring that up. That was part of the initial study. This was back in March. They published it in May, and the coronavirus actually, just like all other coronaviruses, it actually needs healthy cells in order to duplicate. You know, I mean, it's still novel, right? But because that's how they have to classify it as that right now. But all viruses have a pathology, and that pathology is very similar to SARS, very similar to Mars, and very similar to all other coronaviruses.
All right. And then the idea that if we can just stop this freeway, there are a lot of intersecting streets, avenues, courtways, backways. I'll say when you look at the crown on that coronavirus, there's not just one crown. And so the entire coronavirus itself, individualized, isolated, has to be suppressed from the T cells, correct?
Yes.
It can't just be we've generated a response. We've elicited a T cell response because,
Hmm.
as we know, the T cell response, if you look at just the coronavirus, there could be many crowns needed to be plugged, many freeways that needed to be stopped. I'll give you an example. When we were in Sacramento, California, after the murder of Stefan Clark, one of the responses from the public was to shut the freeways down, and that would prevent, commerce from flowing until they recognized the value of the life of the one, which is our brother. And so
Hmm.
shutting down the freeways as a strategy, we know that we can't stop all of traffic because there are other avenues and pathways.
Gotcha.
In this study that you looked at, um, here's what I think I got out of it first, and then I'll ask the question. But I want to
Hmm.
know, when you looked at the study, is it killing the coronavirus, or are they just saying we elicited a T cell response? All right, so here's what I got out of the study. What they did was look at some of their different existing vehicles and then take the trace elements of those vehicles and try to apply the methodology of what worked with those other vehicles. And they tried to make the same reference here. I don't know if they were successful because the standard to which they evaluated efficacy was one that said, were we able to elicit a T cell response? The information that I looked at said as of day 43, they had the highest amount of T cell responses elicited, and that was with the 100 microdose.
Hmm.
And so when I look at that, and then we look at coronavirus, um, number one, are they saying that yes, they have created a vehicle that will create the protein? And if that's a yes, that which is the protein spike, If that's a yes, they have created a vehicle that can create the protein spike. Are they saying that their vaccine has the protein spike in it, or are they saying once it gets in your body, like you said, the viruses need a living organism to recreate? Once it gets in your body, the vaccine itself acts like the coronavirus and then informs your cell to create that protein spike.
Exactly.
There's a
So
difference there. Right.
yeah, so and I'm glad that you bringing it up because now we making it more into a biology conversation. So
Yes, sir.
there
It's
there
science.
are more than one type of T cell. I did show the your standard type of T cell, right? But you have a helix as well. The helix T cell is what you're gonna need to fight the coronavirus spikes, right? As you can see, it's plentiful, and the coronavirus, the COVID-19 virus, uh, it is a lot smaller than your average influenza cell, common cold cell, chickenpox cell, right? So because of that, that mRNA that I was mentioning, it that is going to have to be heavy. It's going to have to be heavy to produce it, right? So you can see at day 43 with the micro. So this is why Pfizer said that you would need a second dose, because if you got your T cell response at day 43 and that's the highest that it is ever going to be, you would need that second dose. And so that's why Pfizer, is suggesting a second dose.
That's interesting. And see, here's another reason why I'm still on the fence. My wife went to California to visit family, and her custodial father there was healthy, took a photo with him and everything. And she had left on a Thursday. And by Saturday morning, I believe, early morning, she ended up getting a phone call that he was rushed to the emergency room. And by Saturday night, he had already died. So if it took 3 days to escalate and to expand within him, then why would I take a vaccine that needs 43 days?
Yeah. And so now we're talking incubation period, and we're talking uh different cases, right? Because see, everybody's body, definitely has different responses. Your immune system, obviously, it gets weaker as you get older, and um, I'm again that's on a case by case scenario, right? But in terms of vaccines and efficacy and the standards, right? What you want to do is, because that's why they can't say 100% effective, right? Because some people, and this speaking to my little theory, I have a theory that there's more than one COVID-19 strain. They're even talking about a variant strain of COVID-19 in the UK right now.
That's
So
right.
yeah, so it's very possible that her father got the one of the and my condolences. My condolences. I buried my father-in-law back in early September, but it wasn't COVID related. But my condolences. But what I'm believing is that he might have got a different strain, a more deadly strain. Personally, my son, he tested positive. All it was a couple of days of him not being able to smell, not being able to taste. But you know, uh, thank the creator, nobody else in my family, we were all tested twice actually, and we all came back negative. So this is why I honestly believe that it's more than one strain, and there's a weaker strain that that maybe people are contracting and getting the T cells needed to fight off the stronger strain. It's just a theory. I don't know. Again, this is novel. We ain't even in a full calendar year yet.
Right. And then so as we continue to walk it down, we gonna get there. We're gonna walk them down. I mean, how much time you got? Like it's
Oh,
been an hour,
I,
you've been
I
on
got
live. You
time. I
normally
got
don't You
Yeah,
got time?
I got 2 weeks off, brother.
You can tell your students they can watch this one because B1 Brother
Yeah,
Moses, I'm gonna have a conversation from the articulate point of view. It's gonna be science based, and I
yeah.
got some anecdotes that will help, kind of keep the thoughts flowing. So, all
Okay.
right. So what it sounds like then is that the response, and I'm gonna keep using social unrest as the underlying sentiment, as well as the conditions that we already experience as different cross-sectional analogies to make these points about how do we fight the coronavirus, how do we stop the spread, how do we actually get there, because the goal would actually be for me, Brother Rob, to kill the coronavirus.
Hmm.
Right. So as the tests say, we've elicited a T cell response. That is a lower measure to me because the measure that people were hoping for was that if they contracted coronavirus, that they would have the T cells or the response inside of an immune system, whether compromised or fully strong. They're hoping that the vaccine itself makes up that difference and allows the coronavirus to be defeated if it has been transmitted to us. And what we're looking at here is the analogy of the different doses of the vaccines, the 100 versus the 250, whether you take it in 2-week intervals or whether they can give you that one-time shot. And now
Hmm.
you are immune because your body will naturally fight it. So the next pivot then we didn't looked at Sacramento, and Sacramento has the I-80 and the I-5.
Right.
And so as the
I'm following.
as
I'm
the social
tracking.
developers, we like, all right, we see
I'm
we got
tracking.
the I-80 and the I-5, and we got Moderna on I-80 and we got Pfizer on I-5. You feel me? And we getting ready to shut it down. But now that we need to shut it down, we're looking at the number of troops we would actually need to be placed on that freeway.
Hmm. And,
And the
and,
reason
and,
why it's important to look at that 43 days versus is because we don't exactly know how many coronavirus to anticipate plan on using this freeway, right? And so we do know that we need to generate a response that will be equal, if not greater than the number of coronavirus that hit the I-5 and the I-80. Your response.
yes, sir. Uh, I'm looking at the analogy, and I guess the other option would be, herd immunity. If we are really looking at this COVID-19 virus, right, and trying to look at it with a degree of optimism, right, 99.6% of everyone who has contracted it has recovered. You know, but it might we might have to lose point 0.4.
Mm,
We might have to lose point 0.4 because, see, once you got your 99.6 standing together, you feel me? And everybody then contracted it, and now, you know, they internal, immune system, it'll be ready for COVID-19, and our community just similar to our ancestor Onesimus. We'll be able to go about our business, and not even be concerned about contracting it. That would be the other option. But with that option, people have to understand with herd immunity, right? It'd be very similar, when we were young, right? And people used to have chicken pox parties.
mm.
You know what I'm saying? So it's the same thing. But the thing is, we don't know about the point 0.4. Are you part of the point 0.4? You know?
What's crazy is as we look at it again, I'm gonna get out of the analogy and go right back to the coronavirus and distribution of these new vaccines. Um, One of the things that they're going to have to deal with, which they haven't, is the fact that people may have already developed immunity already by having contracted it.
Mm-hmm.
One of the, um, Pfizer was first. When Pfizer was giving their briefing and they were talking about their efficacy and they were talking about their distribution method, I heard them emphasize a lot about the rollout and the prioritization on who gets the vaccines. But what I did not hear about was the testing of those folks prior to being given the vaccine or having already had the coronavirus or having already having the antibodies naturally. And
Hmm.
so my question would be then, as we look at the vaccine and its distribution, how concerned are you of over immunization or over, when you get a vaccine for something you didn't need a vaccine for, because again, here's the numbers that they said. The numbers were like 2 times, 7 times greater of number of people who have already contracted the coronavirus. It's underreported and uncounted people who have had it, but have not been tested to say that they have had it, but they have recovered naturally, whether asymptomatic or whether they never even felt symptoms. And so, with that being said, there are people who may already have, even frontline workers, people who would be, standing on that freeway with us. They're frontline workers who may have already developed the T cells. And so, how are they vetting them out? Are you concerned with them being vetted out before actually getting the nanobites to reproduce the same thing their bodies naturally
Yeah. The issue is because it's so new. They literally have cases where people have contracted it more than one time, and because of that, I follow you, right? But because they literally have cases of people contracting it more than one time, um, this is why I'm not overly concerned with over vaccination, especially for our frontline workers. And let me also say, at the beginning of this COVID-19 pandemic, you know, people were looking at it and was saying, man, why are so many black people getting it? It is because of the types of jobs that we have. We do have exposure to the general population at a higher clip, and so because of that, and then social conditions, and I mean social practices, people always shaking up and hugging and kissing, and I mean this is just something that's customary in the black community. Because of that, that's also one of the things that led to us initially contracting it at such a high clip. If we only 13% of the population, why are we contracting it at 30%, 40%? And I attributed it to the type of jobs that we had, you know, and where we were in the population, and then also our living conditions as well. All of those social conditions play a role. Um, it's an issue. I honestly feel like it's an issue that everybody should be concerned with. And again, just to bring it full circle, I'm just hoping that you know our skepticism and cynicism, you know, pretty much about everything, um, it doesn't apply here because literally whatever group come out of this the fastest, literally they the ones that get closest to the bag first. If you can show and prove, what I'm saying, man, that mean that, man, y'all ready to rock and roll. I don't know. I mean, these are things that I'm thinking about, educationally, especially financially. uh, those are things that I'm thinking about. And if this vaccine is a tool, man, let's use it. You know, maybe I got lost in the sauce right there, but literally, that those are my thoughts on it.
It's a good deal. And if I could be expanded, my thoughts on it is that as we were looking towards a race to the cure, there were companies that decided that they had a vehicle that could get us to that cure faster. So we were racing to the cure, and there were companies that thought they had a vehicle that could get us to the cure faster. And so with that, I think there was, I don't know if it's called cutting corners, but there was some shoddy research. And the more that we looked into the research and the more that we kind of engaged in the information and did the Google searches on the big words that they used in there, like immunogenicity, and we didn't just stop at herd immunity. As we looked at the information, some of us have decided that we're comfortable with it. Others have decided that this process is still missing a key element of the argument. The hypothesis has yet to be answered. Does it actually kill the coronavirus was the real question. If so, where and how? What are the actual side effects to the interior body? Not just whether or not I got a fever and a cough or maybe some chills, but what happens to those freeways? It's a novel virus this one is. And so the only way that we would be able to see what happens afterwards would be to look back to some of those case studies, like the malaria and remdesivir and so many others that they have tried to be, or they've pushed forward as the vehicles in this race to the cure. And so remdesivir was one of the big ones. We can track that one back to malaria. This
Mm-hmm.
BioNTech nanotechnology, they're
Mm-hmm.
using something that scares the shit out of a lot of people, talking AI and nanobites and all of that. And so
Mm-hmm.
because that information can be a bit, um, I don't know, sci-fi ish, it's going to come with some natural skepticism for those folks who have decided, there's many people who never had a problem with the vaccines anyway. Their kids could have vaccines, whatever it was. Some people never had a problem with, HMO foods, modified organisms in general. And with this vaccine, that's not going to change. I think we'll see those folks who have no concern, even in the Black community, move forward with vaccinations, no problem, coming in the second quarter of 2021. For those folks who are skeptical, it's going to prevent that herd immunity concept because they will not budge unless those questions are actually answered, which is, does it work? And the response that, well, we need more time to tell. And that's the reason why they're pushing forward human subjects in these clinical trials on a global scale. That's not going to rest with us. We've been the guinea pigs in the scientific community's petri dish before, and just not comfortable being that petri dish again for the sake of science. They have more than enough white people to test it on. Black folks who will not move forward would be right to say so. That's me, B1 Brother Moses. Thank you for bringing the conversation, brother, and we got to keep this bill going. So thank you
No
again.
doubt. No doubt. And man, thank you for coming up, bro. Our show
Yes,
was
sir.
about to close out.
I was
Yeah.
doing, I was like, I had my phone because I was like still lightweight in bed, but lightweight up, and I was just listening, and I'd look at the screen every once in a while, but I was just chilling. And then when I looked at the screen, he was like, the link is up. And I was like, oh shit, let me check. And I saw the link and I was like, oh, I wonder, does he actually have a report so we could break it down? Cause I was gonna walk her ass down on that efficacy trial, like all in 43 days. And whatever it was, we elicited a T cell response. I'm like,
Hmm.
yeah, bro, but it got like 43 T cells on it. Like when I look at the coronavirus, that mug got a lot of crowns on it. And so unless you can actually take out the whole coronavirus, now listen, they're talking about one macro organism. It's so small, one, and them being able to say we created one for the one-on-one ratio. Unfortunately, if somebody sneezes, that could be thousands or 10,000s of particulates that are in their aerosol. When you wipe, if you touch your face or whatever, how many actual corona? Is it a community cluster, or is it a lot? Is it like 1,000? Is it 1,000,000 of those corona that are actually there? So if your coronavirus test was only to see if you elicited a T cell response and you generated a few spikes, that's not going to do it with an invading army. Let's say we got to that freeway, Brother Rob.
Hmm.
And when we got there, not only did they have the cop cars, the SWAT truck, they had the National Guard there with Humvees, and they had ghetto birds. Now we knew we couldn't do anything about the ghetto birds because they're not using the freeway anyway. But we thought we might be able to stop the traffic. But that damn coronavirus, we had enough to cover, one or two spikes, but we hadn't got to the point of covering the entire coronavirus and shutting down that whole thing. And what we didn't want to do, we didn't want to just scorched earth the entire city just to stop the freeway, right? That's what we did. We didn't want to Louisville, Kentucky, in fact, that moment. We didn't want that shit. We didn't want to burn down our lungs trying to stop the invading coronavirus. That's what we
Hmm.
didn't want. And neither
Gotcha.
did we want them to put something in our bodies that was essentially going to be putting down the spike strip inside of our lungs. So whether or not it gave us the whole coronavirus, did it put the spike strips there that now my natural body is fighting with spike strips and the remnants of spike strips for however long until we finally know what happens with the vaccine. So those are big concerns. Like, and then where? Some just look at the lungs when they're not looking at the digestive tract. Some aren't even looking at the tonsils or where your T cells are coming from, or even the bone marrow. And so if you're talking about a community that has challenges with just getting milk and fresh produce into every black centered space of every urban community, and we still have we're not eating three wholesome meals a day, is the main challenge, is nutrition, then how can you not include in there what happens to my stomach, right? And so
Mhm.
there's so many different other areas that we could walk it down on this one. We just want to keep it a little bit high level and address a couple of the concerns. When it comes to science, though, these are our bodies and we have the right to them, and we have the right to not be experimented upon. And unfortunately, we do not have a protection against said experimentation. And right now it looks like the federal government is on the side of less protections. We even had the media is now talking about mandatory or not mandatory, but that idea of forcing people to get vaccinated, that originates with us. That's our protest there, saying no, we have the right not to get vaccinated. But then also we also have the right in our community for those folks who are high risk, for those folks who do have immune issues, like HIV folks who wanted to be a part of the Moderna trial but were denied, right? And so you
Mhm.
don't even know right at this point whether or not it's going to work, period, let alone with some of the chronic conditions. Now they can say we've tested it up against, X, but what about the ones that we need? They looked at the numbers. Did you look at the diabetes numbers?
Yeah, yeah, and that was that was somewhat disturbing. The efficacy goes down 20 points. You know.
Right. And
Hmm.
that's a predominant one for us. You can't say the black community doesn't have a right to feel a little bit some kind of way about it if the conditions that we know our people are suffering from are the ones where their vaccine doesn't even work as well anymore.
Yeah, but this is the issue with that, right? They literally have to use sugar in order for the vaccine to be and for you to be able to for them to be able to deliver it to the bloodstream. You
Hmm.
know, they need sugar. You have to have it in the vaccine in order for it to deliver. It's like paving that freeway.
And why
You
does
know,
that become a problem with people who have diabetes or sickle cell, for that example?
yeah,
Why is that one?
yeah, that spike in blood sugar at the time of inoculation, again, it knocks down the efficacy of the vaccine by 20 points. I think it was I think she said it was 64%, 64 to 74%. So I just went in the middle, you know.
Right. And so now again, you're saying that the most high risk population, the ones who have been dying the most, and the conditions or the underlying conditions that they suffer from, we have a vaccine that's less effective for them.
Yeah.
And we don't have the right to say, hold on, then you need to take that shit back to your little lab in your little petri dish and work it out, because you're still missing the key ingredient, is the fact that I am going to need something stronger because of the pre-existing conditions,
Hmm.
right?
And I
You can't.
mean, that goes right along with people that have lupus,
Right.
people that got hypertension, high blood pressure. Um, all of these conditions are preconditions,
My
and
biggest
we've
one was
we've known that
asthma
for a
is the
while.
most common, and you can't tell me that you're using this vaccine that was tested on 16 to 19, which means your ultimate goal is to be able to put this thing inside of our children. Now, again, I look at it from the lens of a vehicle for the destruction of the black body or the destruction of a cell. In this case, it's not targeted at, we're supposed to believe that it's not targeted at the destruction of our body, but more or less at the destruction of the coronavirus and its exterior body. So it's sword as it comes to attack.
Mm.
And the biggest one is that it's a respiratory or causes the respiratory diseases. And so with that, you can't tell me that you have full efficacy for people who are healthy. We need to know that you have high efficacy before there's any consideration, really. I mean, but some people really don't need it. But for those who need to be convinced a little bit more, they need a little bit more prodding, then we need to know that it's going to work before we even put our people. What only reason why we would want to join a clinical trial or take the vaccine is if we have a genuine fear that we are at risk and we are looking for a solution. And you know how I feel about that white savior complex. But
Yeah.
that's the only reason why they would go, unless
Yeah.
they made it mandatory. And so if your plan is, herd immunity, you're going to miss out because you have those people who are like, no, if it's not mandatory, I'll wait.
Well, yeah. Well, that was the issue with the trials. Pfizer and Moderna, they were hard pressed to get the African American community and the Latino and the brown community, for lack of better words or whatever,
It
to
wasn't hard pressed.
participate.
They said no.
Yeah, they said no, and they were looking to get 30%, but they got 9, as you can see in both studies.
So I live here in
Almost 10 in
Arizona.
the Moderna though.
I live here in Arizona, and our big hospital is the Mayo Clinic. And I met the guy, and he was telling me about clinical studies and how that was going to be hard back in November and December, before the coronavirus actually hit. Moderna actually did one of their case studies for their phase 3 trial, with candidates right here and participants right here. Excuse me. The candidate is actually the vaccine, and the
Hmm.
participants are the human subjects willing to take part in the clinical trial. And so,
Hmm.
with that, there was no mass communication that went out seeking Black and Latinx participants inside of that Moderna trial. And what they didn't want to do was bring us on anyway because of our underlying conditions. It would have showed that their efficacy was a lot lower on treating what is an adequate representation of places like Phoenix, Arizona, because we
Hmm.
have a high a Latinx community, because there's a high. I just say, like, when you get to Texas, there's
Well,
some states where the
yeah,
overall theme is that people are unhealthy, less
yeah.
healthy than healthy. And
It
Arizona is
got
one of
it,
those places.
yeah, it got everything to do with all of those steak facilities y'all got down there.
Right, yeah, man, we everything. Hey, man, they don't even cook it. They just burn it a little bit on the outside and throw it on a plate. I'm like, man, what is that?
Hey man, you can literally link it to the fact that they y'all literally have access to more red meat than everybody else in the country.
Right.
Literally, you can link it to that, and boom, there it go. You know what I'm saying? But literally, right? Because we didn't participate at the rate of infection. You see, we didn't even
Mm,
participate at the rate of the population, let alone the rate of infection. One more time, one fifth, one. I mean, my fault. 1/3 of all of the deaths have come from the Black and brown community. 1/5 of all of the infections have come from the Black and brown community. So this was essentially my concern with putting this out there. Let me say out loud, I'm not telling anybody to go get the vaccine, right? But I am for like I was telling y'all earlier, right? Her they did a 3D printing of that protein. They did it because, so if you're looking at it through a microscope, right? Uh, um, you only gonna see it in 2D, right? So this is where the you know wonder scientifical wonderment of new science come in at, right? They 3D printed the proteins. You know what I'm saying? And these proteins have to move just like a protein. So imagine if you put a protein together, right? And you got to put it in a certain shape. That is the only thing to me that was difficult. And they did it in a 3D printer,
Good morning,
So
brothers. How y'all doing?
I'm good, man. My fault, Leonardo. I just wanted to finish that point. But peace and welcome to the panel, brother.
yes, sir.
Apologize for interrupting you. Much love, much respect, my brothers. Go ahead. I apologize. I mean,
I was just going to double down and say that Dr. Corbett, her research, one more time, and the sister is beautiful. I just got to throw that out there. You know what I'm saying? But her research in duplicating that protein that COVID-19 will use, to me, that was brilliant. It was brilliant. You know what I'm saying? Nobody had ever done that before. It was brilliant. And that's why I have some confidence in this vaccine. All right, go ahead, Leonardo.
yeah. Good morning, my brothers. I have no confidence in the vaccine at all. I have no confidence in the government at all. They've been lying to us for a lot of years. Black people need to wake up out of the madness that they put us in.
You know what I mean? I'm gonna ask y'all brothers, whatever happened to healthy living? They don't teach us about alkaline in our body. They don't teach us about, the meats is poisoning us. That's what's giving us the poison and this so-called flu or COVID-19. My research has shown healthy people are not dying. So basically what that tells me is if you're overweight, lose a couple pounds, eat more fruit. I just don't trust them. I believe I researched Dr. Sadie, may he rest in peace. You know what I mean? Me personally, I don't trust the government. I don't trust big pharma, and me and my family, we would rather die than take that. I'm sorry. You know what I mean? I'm gonna mute my mic. I said my piece.
Yes, sir. All good. So, uh, you know, just to talk about the mechanisms behind this thing, Pfizer is a publicly traded company as well as Moderna. So they are not part of the government. And they literally had to go to the FDA along with the board for uh man you know how like you I got all of these letters in my mind. It's one of them four-letter organizations, but it's basically an organization that is designed for the protection of ethics in medicine, you know and it falls under Title 45.
Can
uh
I can I say this real quick? The,
yeah.
the FDA has been lying to us about the safety of the flu shots. I don't trust none of them. Pfizer been covering up stuff. Pfizer, all the pharmaceutical industry has been lying to our people about the safety of medicines, especially the CDC. It was a black guy that got killed early in the year because he was about to whistleblow on everything that's going on. We'd rather take a vaccine that we don't know about than rather change our diet, lose a couple pounds, and try to better our life. Why is that?
Well, that got everything to do with number one, habits. Uh, and I'm not against us. Like at the beginning, I am a participant in the B1 network, and the brother that just left the panel. At the beginning of this, we were telling people to take it serious. I gave people suggestions of alkaline and water at home, and very quickly, how you can alkaline water at home. All you have to do is just get a cucumber, chop it up, put it in a gallon of water. For every quart of water, you probably want at least 4 cucumbers. That water will be alkaline for 3 to 4 days,
Have you
right?
ever heard of ginger root?
Ginger root as well.
Yeah,
Ginger root, if
ginger
you
root is
notice,
excellent for the body.
yes, and if you notice, ginger root, the price of it went up $1.50 at the beginning of this pandemic. You know,
Yeah, and I still bought it. It's under $3 a pound.
yeah, it
And,
went down. It went down once they said that it was cool to go to the grocery store again.
yeah, I never stopped and I never wore a mask because
Yeah,
basically, like I said, I'm a disabled vet. I served this country. I know how evil it is. You know they be lying. And I like me and my wife. The reason I go hard, I had a 2-year-old daughter that took a flu shot, and a month later she was dead, my brother. And I questioned Big Pharma. I questioned the CDC. I questioned all of that. You know what I mean? And we as black people, like me and my wife wasn't able to sue, but it was white families that sued and got money. They just wanted black people. We can't sue. And we need to wake up to that. The CDC, like I said, has been lying to our people about the safety of all that stuff for the last 50 years or since it started.
well, my condolences for you and your daughter. I obviously with a very powerful story like that. Um, I can see why you would be apprehensive and very passionate about the way that you feel. And my father, he's a veteran, and and he shares some of your and he shares some of your views on the vaccine. But like I started earlier, and I still say, the science that this young lady, Dr. Corbett, our sister, is using is groundbreaking, never been used before, and the efficacy rate, right, is very high, and the safety rate was 100%. So that being said, you know, I'm not pushing back on anything that you have to say about vaccines and their safety. All I'm saying is I'm hoping that, again, our dark history with this country, right, in terms of
Yeah.
medicine. I'm hoping that our dark history with this country doesn't cloud our view of something that may be a tool, you know, for the safety of our people against this global pandemic. That's all I was really trying to show today, and literally showed the science and what she was using. That's kind of groundbreaking, you know.
I got you, my brother. Like I said, no disrespect to you or your channel. I'm not into
I nah,
disrespect.
I didn't feel disrespected at all.
You know, I, I'm about enlightening my people, and basically, like I said, if we research the CDC, it has been covering up for the last 50 years for big pharmaceutical. You know, I'm gonna say this and I'm gonna shut up real quick. And right when the pandemic started, Congress could have lowered the prices on medication for people. They voted and they chose not to lower the price. They could have helped people. That's what I'm saying. This system don't want to help people. It want to hurt people. Because that's all this system does. And that's what we as black people need to remember. That's why I go hard. I go hard for my 2-year-old daughter that died. And I got a 4-year-old right now that I refuse to let anybody touch her. You see what I'm saying? And that's why I go
Absolutely.
hard. This country, I'm 100% disabled vet. I killed for this country. And the showing that this country has showed me since I got out is that this country doesn't care about us. And until us black people wake up and realize that, we're doomed. I'm advising people, please don't take that shit unless you forced to. You know what I mean? And that's all I'm gonna say, my brother. I apologize.
No problem. No problem. And it's all good. Look, at the end of the day, I'm cool. I mean, you a grown man, I'm a grown man. You certainly have your point of view. It is definitely founded in something that's personal. And again, my condolences. I could understand why, you would feel strongly against vaccines with a personal account like that. You
Yeah,
know,
it was 2015 when my daughter died, man. She was 2 years old, man. I'm in the hospital holding her, and basically they tried to blame, instead of blaming it on the flu shot, they tried to blame it on me and my wife genes, which I know we got strong genes. You know what I mean? They tried to blame it on everything else but the flu shot, man.
hmm
And that's all they're gonna do right now.
hmm
You know, that's all they're gonna do. They're gonna not blame the pharmaceutical company or Pfizer or any of the other ones, and get away with poisoning our people, man. Whenever they say black people need to be a part of that experiment, I tell people, black people, to think about that. Why do we got to be the guinea pigs? Why can't the white people be the guinea pigs?
Yeah. Um, well, this is one of my mentors. Rest in peace to him, Dr. Africa. He talks about how we are not the same, biologically or chemically, than people other than our type O blood type, and type
I'm
O
with you.
blood type, yeah, and type O blood type
Dr.
in these
Sebi says the
clinical
same thing,
trials.
that we are organic people.
Yeah, we are not the same. I would strongly suggest to everybody in the chat, go and check him out. What I'm saying, his name is Dr. Layla Africa, right? He comes right along the same lines of Dr. Sebi, right? And to answer your question, what's new? Alkaline water, it helps with digestion. It pulls things that you're not using as energy for the body, building blocks for the body, right? It pulls it to your small intestine, large intestine. That's what alkaline water do. It help with digestion. But and I mean, of course, if your digestion is healthy, then your overall health is gonna be healthier. You know,
Also
because you
tells me to
moving.
look up the ginger.
Gin, yeah,
Ginger
ginger
root
root.
is
Yeah,
excellent
ginger
for it
root.
too.
Yeah, it got uh ginger root helps with the production of white blood cells. It also helps with the production of T cells that you already produce. You know what I'm saying? It helps with the overall health of red blood cells that produce T cells. You know what I'm saying? It increases the production. So if you got more red blood cells, literally you're gonna have more T cells because that's where they come from, right? But in these clinical studies, people that had type O blood in the Pfizer and Moderna study, it was found out that the vaccine was actually more effective. So,
I'm saying I just don't trust their studies, man. They've been lying to us, man. Look up the CDC, man. Do some research on the CDC, man. That's all I tell people.
I started the bill by acknowledging our past and our apprehensions. My contention is this not that. You know, this virus affects Russians, Chinese, Japanese, Arabs, white folks, and black folks too. You know, it's just like smallpox. It don't respect anybody. It'll kill you. It'll kill me. You know what I'm saying? Or we might recover. We don't know. You know what I'm saying? So we got two options now. We could go with the 99.6. I think I'm part of the 99.6. Or you part of that point 0.4. You know? That I mean, literally, bro. Those are our options, y'all. Now, in closing, I'll say this. You know what I'm saying? I'll say this, right? If we are so skeptical, who are we gonna believe? Who are we gonna believe? We might as well get our own scientists, or we might as well go to medical school and learn this stuff. I go and start doing, YouTube University and start studying microbiology, you know, immunology, you know, trying to figure out how to produce, white T blood cells and all that. Hey, who are we gonna trust? You see, am I saying trust the FDA? Am I saying trust the CDC? Man, please don't conflate what I'm saying. I'm not disagreeing with you, brother. Yeah, we do need to for people who haven't, we do need to definitely do the history on this. If you're not familiar, scientific racism is a real thing. It's a book that I love for the family to go get. It's called Medical Apartheid. Oh man, man, they break it down in that book. That's something I done read. So like I said at the beginning, it's not lost on me our dark history. But again, um, let's at least look at the science. And maybe this is a tool, man. I don't know, what I'm saying? I ain't telling nobody to take it. or not to take it. All I'm saying to you, y'all, is like, let's keep looking at this thing, but let's look at it objectively. That's all I'm asking us to do. Because what if this is a tool for us, y'all? Everybody else scared. We follow the science, find out it is a tool for us, and then boom, take it and we good. And everybody else scared. You see what I mean? Like, man, we gotta look at it from both ways. That's all I'm saying, y'all. I understand our skepticism. It's not lost on me. But again, I appreciate everybody for coming today, and uh and I look forward to doing more bills. I mean, man, I got time. I had 2 weeks off. You know what I'm saying? I do got to do some lesson planning, and maybe that'll be my next bill. I'll do some live lesson planning with y'all, so y'all can see the ins and outs and the ups and downs, and give me some suggestions. Man, our kids, man, the teachers ain't teaching them nothing in school. All right, give me some suggestions. How will you, you know what I'm saying, go about teaching how to manage money and have good credit, and because that's my next lesson in consumer ed. I'm gonna be focused on credit, so yeah, maybe that'll be my next bill. Live lesson planning with Bro Rob. You know what I'm saying?
My
I
brother,
mean, because
I appreciate you letting me on your panel. Much love, much respect. I'm subscribe to your channel, and all I'm gonna say is every time I come, I'm for my people. I'm not coming here to argue with people. I'm not here to start turmoil. I'm here to build, because we as Black people need to learn how to build and respect each other. Much love, much respect, my brother. Enjoy your day, man.
all
I
right,
appreciate you letting me on, my brother. Thank you.
man, all good, man. Peace to you, brother. And we are the same. Hey, I love our people. I love our people. I'm for our people. So we are the same in that regard. But peace out to you, fam. And
Peace. And
yeah.
like I said, I will subscribe to your channel. Thank you for allowing me up here, my brother.
All right, thank you, brother. All right.
Thank
Peace
you.
and yep. Peace and love to my favorite scientist in the building, Nicole Ali. You know what I'm saying? Hope everything is well with you, sis. But I was just about to close out. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? I was just about to close out, and I was just talking about today the science that Dr. Corbett, our sister, used to develop the vaccine that Pfizer and Moderna is using and got approved for emergency use. And what I was hoping was that um, that we look with this with an objective eye. If the vaccine not working, what can we do to get this vaccine to work for Black people? You know what I'm saying? And if we gonna be so skeptical, then we need to put our money up, put it behind some Black scientists that we trust. you know Man, put some money up, man. Maybe that's the next option. You know what I'm saying? But I wanted to close out with one of my joints. One of my joints is called Profile, right? That's the name of the song. It's called Profile. And I'll let the song speak for itself. But man, peace and love to everybody that came through. Man, hit that like button for me. Subscribe to your boy. I ain't even putting no super chat and all of that, and cash apps and you know what I'm saying? Because I don't drop enough content to ask the family for no donation shit. You know what I'm saying? But I definitely got a lot on my mind, and I love to share some of my thoughts with y'all. You know what I'm saying? I think the answer to a lot of our problems is in the middle. That's why I think it's it. I think the solutions are in the middle. You know. So, man, peace, crew. Man, you missed the whole bill, G. You missed the whole bill, man. But yeah, I was just about to close out, crew, and yeah, crew got some of my music. You know what I'm saying? Y'all don't understand. I used to be an MC. You know what I'm saying? And at one point in time, I felt like I was raw enough to get out here and compete with anybody. You know what I'm saying? And so, profile. This is just me trying to put something out here that I felt like at the time uh everybody needed to hear something you know when you thinking about that girl. You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna let the song speak for itself. And peace and love to everybody that came through.
Man, you should have seen this girl. For real? She was so fine. How fine? Dude, she's so fine. You look at her, G, and you start smiling, Joe. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah. Shorty was I'm talking pretty about, man, dude. She was that deal. Man, Joe is wild. How shorty style stand out from her profile. Make me wanna find out when the next time we can go and hang out. Might be the one. Make me wanna settle down. Man, Joe is wild. How shorty style stand out from her profile. Make me wanna find out when the next time we can go and hang out. Might be the one. Make me wanna settle down. Peep shorty first. What type of gear she got on? Is she outgoing? Is she independent and strong? Do she got a baby face? I love pretty eyes. A sexy disposition to go with them hips and thighs. Is she thugged out or is she too conservative? Is she too friendly? I wonder how old shorty really is. Is she uptight? Does she let her guard down? Can't stand to see a fine woman stand around and frown. Most important, I peep how shorty carry herself. Is she unique or like everybody else? Do she got kids? More than two is like, man, I know things happen. All I can do is understand. Is she looking for a friend or looking for a man? Looking for a free drink or a one night stand? Might as well go over here, see if we really vibe, see where things go, see what's really on her mind. Man, Joe, it's wild. How shorty style stand out from her profile. Make me wanna find out when the next time we can go and hang out. Might be the one. Make me wanna settle down. Man, Joe, it's wild. How shorty style stand out from her profile. Make me wanna find out when the next time we can go and hang out. Might be the one. Make me wanna settle down. I peep shorty style. How she dress, how she walk, her whole profile. Do she finesse, how she talk, do she express herself well? Will she communicate, keep her secrets? The number one reason for heated debates. Do she listen well, or is she always yapping? Do she coordinate when she rock a little fashion? Is her mind right? Can she hold a liquor? Is she independent? Or is she a gold digger? What's her attitude like? Is she always negative? That kind of attitude slow a brother up like a sedative. Is she intelligent? Or is she kind of lame? I can't respect no woman if she easily falls for game. Do she got flavor? Is she a shaker and a mover? Can she make me laugh? Do she got a sense of humor? To be the most important, might seem odd. She gotta have faith. She gotta believe in God. Man, Joe, it's wild. How shorty style stand out from her profile. Make me wanna find out when the next time we can go and hang out. Might be the one. Make me wanna settle down. Man, Joe, it's wild. How shorty style stand out from her profile. Make me wanna find out when the next time we can go and hang out. Might be the one. Make me wanna settle down.
Engage me in conversation that intrigue. Re-energize it when I feel fatigue. Make my spirits rise when I feel low. Bump your fist and quote my verses at the show. I really wonder what kind of woman you are. Are you the type to front on me cause I don't have a car? After 5 days, no line and no shave. Would you cook for me and make sure that I get? Perhaps we can have a drink and exchange histories. And maybe after that you won't be such a mystery. Cause man, Joe is wild. How shorty style stand out from a profile. Make me wanna find out when the next time we could go and hang out. Might be the one to make me wanna settle down. Yo, I'm feeling good about the way that we vibe. It's magnetic and everything is copacetic. Might be the woman that I need in my life forevermore. Might have to make you my wife. For real, baby.
You know, I don't be coming to these kind of spots that often. Man, I ain't seen someone like you in a minute. Look, what you finna do? Look, let's go grab some breakfast. For real. We could just talk, you know, about the next time I'ma see you, you know, what you gonna be doing from now to then. A few spots we gon' hang out at, you know, some fly spots I know.